This incident occurred on a seemingly ordinary night in July 2022. The home belonged to a couple, but unfortunately, the woman was alone that night and she was about to experience something that she'll remember all her life. A mysterious man standing at her doorstep was ringing the doorbell. The woman felt an unsettling sense of unease as she encountered this man talking to himself, repeatedly saying,
"I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you."
The man speaks in a very creepy manner, which makes her feel a sense of fear and panic. What makes this creepier is that the woman claims not to have spoken a word to the man, but the man acts as if he's in a conversation with somebody else. Woman freaks out and calls 911 immediately. Then the husband makes attempts to learn the man's purpose by accessing the intercom.
Hey, I just had a couple questions.
The man is not yet threatened. He goes on to speak, unbothered.
What I'm looking for is for the girl that's in the house to come out here because I'm going to rape her and kill her.
He was arrested the next day and was identified as Christopher Sons, a fugitive from California. It is said that seconds matter, and this is the proof. The young girl appears anxious as she struggles to unlock the door, and after what seems like an eternity, she succeeds and gets in just in time as... These two men don't seem like they come with good intentions. Without a second thought, the men try barging into the house, but the door was locked well and their attempts failed. Meanwhile, the girl mustered up some courage and started yelling that she'd called the police. And luckily enough, they weren't prepared for this and fled the scene. It was the middle of an eerie night, and something strange was about to happen next. A crying girl was found in front of the homeowner's doors out of nowhere. The owner had a genuine concern for this lady. After all, in this world full of crimes, a person in distress at such an odd hour is truly alarming. Something seems odd. The way she looks behind her suggests that someone is after her, as if being chased. However, the homeowner, confused about how to manage the situation, decides to bring the police into the picture and does not answer the door. But strangely enough, the girl's behavior does not justify her cry for help. The homeowner was perplexed when she realized that the girl was hiding from police when they came there to help. She believed that the innocent girl was in danger, but that was not the truth. She follows to do the same when the neighbors turn on their lights, hiding away from the very people who are offering her help. This made the owner question her intentions. Why would the girl hide from them if she truly wants help? The owner learned one thing that day: not everyone who asks for help truly deserves it. Well, maybe the homeowner's decision to not open the door for her was, after all, the best decision. This is a woman's worst nightmare. After a long, tiresome day at work, this lady returns home to this horrendous sight. It's almost as if these monsters were prepared, well aware of her time of arrival. The lady was shocked and even started questioning if they'd been waiting for her all along. Have they been stalking her? No matter what transpired, it proved to be a difficult day for her. The men sprinted toward the door. Their desperation here was quite evident as they raced before it shut. The footage suggests that one of the men may be carrying a weapon, directing it towards the victim while making some undisclosed demands. The other man, too, rushes inside, and when it seems that the first man has gotten what he wanted, they hastily retreat from the scene. One can only imagine what ensued further that night. A mother and a son were unaware that they were being followed by someone, but what awaits them is what a parent's worst fear is.
I need you to go shower. Please, Daniel. Who's that?
The man's eyes are dead as a shark's, as if they haven't felt an emotion in years, and as he tries to pry open the door, his blank eyes search for his prey. But the homeowner is alerted at this moment.
Who is that? Get out of here!
She raises her voice, demanding him to leave. He seems to pay no heed. He simply steps back and waits. His intentions are unknown. His eyes blank, as always suggesting whether he is under the influence of narcotic abuse or are these eyes with sinister moves. Hopefully the mother and son called for help. This incident that happened in Chicago will teach us all a lesson. A man looks upset near his front door, urgently calling for his wife. Something unsettling is happening, but it's not clear exactly what. It's disturbing to witness people acting aggressively right in front of someone's home, especially when they're trying desperately to reach their spouse. The lack of clarity adds to the unease in the scenario. What can be made out is that the burglars were after the man's bag. The reason why they're doing this is self-explanatory. Regardless of the cause, witnessing such a scene invariably evokes a sense of unease and distress within us. A mother carefully guiding her child toward their apartment, going about her daily life unaware of what is looming behind her. Her whole world comes to a pause when she suddenly spots a peculiar man tailing them. The man carefully inspects the surroundings before he opens the gates and tries to invade her space. The woman freaks as she sees the man. It triggers fear in her, and she turns to a nearby neighbor with an urgent plea for assistance. The anxiety grows as he approaches after he boldly opens the gate and barges in without any hesitation. The tension lingers. Suddenly, he turns around out of nowhere. It catches everyone off guard, perhaps because her shouts caught the attention of the neighbor. Thankfully, the neighbor was alerted, and the man withdrew his approach and walked away. On Twitter, a user claims that the doorbell camera recorded a man standing outside her door every night for an entire month. For obvious reasons, the homeowner was petrified and worried about this scary stalker. The behavior is not just unusual, but preposterous. The situation she's been dealing with is strange and unsettling. But this is where the story gets even more spooky. The camera caught the man saying something, but it's hard to understand because his voice sounds muffled and unclear. It's uncertain what he'll do if she steps out, but whatever it is, it appears ominous and worrisome. Nothing good can be expected. But hear this out. The woman later mentioned that quite a few of her relatives had confronted the man. Even though he hasn't shown up since those encounters, it's emphasized to always stay cautious and not let your guard down. The identity of the man is yet unknown. This CCTV footage captures a disturbing scene where a man stands ominously at someone's doorstep, dousing the surroundings with fuel before unfolding a series of unsettling events. The homeowners were a mother and her 2 children who could have been victims of this sheer madness if the man hadn't made this one folly. The man can be seen trying to ignite the fuel with a lighter, but he had, accidentally or not, used diesel fuel instead of gasoline. Fortunately, it couldn't be burned, and a major disaster was avoided. The woman, on viewing this on her surveillance cam, quickly calls 911. The man was later arrested and turned out to be living just across the street. He was charged with attempted homicide and arson. On questioning, he claimed that he thought that the house seemed haunted and that he wanted to vanquish the ghost. The whole incident adds up to the possibility that he might be using substances. The family was lucky that they were saved by a mere mistake. This man seems to be normal, selling candies door to door. The woman answers the door and even purchases some. What had seemed to be an ordinary morning turned out to be a nightmare in seconds. While the purchase happens, 3 men out of nowhere sprint their way into the house, attacking the woman. The woman helplessly gives into the situation as she's outnumbered and is robbed in her very own home. The scene, capable of blowing minds, is that the man selling the candy was himself one of the intruders, and the whole thing was a master plan executed to gain the woman's trust and lure her into their trap. And it's not just one, there are other doors they knocked on to test their luck, but fortunately enough for the homeowners, none of them answered. The identities of the burglars remain unknown. What are your thoughts on the video? Which one was the most shocking? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more such content.